Welcome everybody to another episode of Cho Thoughts. I'm the Big Cho. Of course, that right there is Big E. Uh, as you can see, the gingerbread house is gone. I finally was able to paint my living room, get moved on to the next project, even though PennDOT Paul, aka my father, just sits there and wants to go one room, not finish it, go to the next room till we have everything done. So anyway, um, I was able to get the house done, so yay to me. I'll just take a self high five right there. No DDP reference needed. Um, Took Xander to the football game. That was interesting in a couple ways. One, I had nobody throwing money. That's the shitty part, you know. Moneybag Yo, no sight. He's probably still locked up, you know.
He's probably banned from that fucking field.
Right. Um, but the one thing is, I kind of yelled at the guy like because they were handing out towels. And I said, where the fuck, why didn't you hand this shit out last week? And he was like, well, it's homecoming. It's like, I don't give a fuck what last week or this week is. It was like, it was hot. I mean, last weekend, it was still as hot.
Yeah.
So I asked the guy for two of them. And then he gave me and Xander one. So I told Xander to hold two of them. Then I leaned back over and I was like, it's a chance of me getting like two more. And he was like, I thought I already gave you two. I was like, yeah. But after last week, I should, you know what? Now I want three. And I shit you not, I have five fucking towels from Pitt's homecoming. So I'm like Oprah, bro. You get a towel, Brandy gets a towel, Xander got a towel. I think my dad's getting a towel. Everybody gets a fucking towel.
Well, like
But
you said, after our debacle last week of, you know, they passed them all out before we got in because we had to go to three different fucking gates because the machines were breaking.
yeah, that's still a bitch. But when we got in, um, first of all, I failed to mention is when I go with Xander, I will put snacks in my cargo shorts at the bottom because I'm not paying astronomical amounts of money for stuff.
Yeah.
And Xander's walking down with a flavored bottle of water, about yay big, okay, and he's adamantly asking me to put it in my cargo shorts. And I said, I can't, bro. Like, if you already knew what's in my cargo shorts already, like, I can't fit no more in here.
Yeah.
So he had to experience what like all the drunken people have to experience. He had to drink his fucking water before he got into the fucking field.
Pretty
So
much.
he's chugging this water or whatever, and he mentions like, "Can I have them pretzels, dude?" Like, like we didn't even get in yet. Like I still have to go and do the tickets. So I was like, "Hey, like just be quiet till we get to our seats." So I get him there, and I mean, you know, by the seats, the heat just comes in. The sun is
Yeah.
right there. So I have his poor like I have like a towel on top of his head. And if anybody's seen my Instagram or socials, we wanted to take funny photos, so we did. And then I was pulling down the left side of it so the sun would like stop, like not hit his face so much, but he could still see the game. Then I felt bad because I'm looking over and I'm like, keep looking, I keep looking, and the back of his neck is all exposed. Now, mind you, in case anybody freaks out or whatever, like, you know, your son's fair skinned. Yeah, I'm aware. I'm his dad. Okay. You gotta tell me twice. I lathered that kid up with sunscreen before we left from the access parking lot. But the thing is, it was so hot, it was starting to like literally bake on him. Where I just sprayed, I didn't even get time to rub it in like on him. But I like sprayed it again. I like coated him twice. So we get down there and I still see his neck's exposed. So I take another towel and like line it with the back of his neck. I thought he was miserable, but he had the best time I've ever seen. Like
Good.
usually I get him between like the end of the first quarter, he starts getting a little and like not really feeling it. I got him to about 8 minutes left in the second half or first half. And that was good because you know it was kind of as almost as miserable as when you and I were there. Like But by this time, 8 minutes left in the second quarter, Pitt's up 35 to like 10.
Yeah.
So we went back to that little area that you and I went, where we saw that stunner of a guy behind us,
Yeah.
and um, I caught Xander watching the game, so I took a video of it because he doesn't really get invested in a football game.
Mm,
And he's looking, and he's like 35 to 10. And I was like, yeah, Pitt's winning. And I swear to you, he looks at me, he's like, that game's over. I was like, hey, you're getting it. Like, yep, that's
yeah.
pretty much it. So I said, why don't we stay right here in that little section again, just to watch it until halftime? Well, after like Pitt kind of scored again, I looked at him, I was like, now we can go home.
We
Like,
out.
there's no reason to stay here. And then what's funny is by the time we got home, it was like 73.
Yeah, 73 to 10 or
Yeah,
13, something like that.
I was like, yeah, that game was definitely over. But
Yeah.
he did. He really enjoyed himself, and it was a lot of fun. I love taking him to his first game. Um, the Youngstown State fans were actually pretty cool. Um, but he really enjoyed himself. He had a really good time. When we came home, he was a little exhausted, a little tired, but kind of felt like I did the week before. I was
Yeah.
pretty fucking exhausted.
Yeah. Like
But
he
yeah,
said.
yeah, but he was good. It was like I think he's going to one more game with me this year. It'll be a little bit more colder.
Mhm.
Of course, like as soon as we get there, I'll hook him up to the Wi-Fi. So if he doesn't have interest in the game, he can at least play with his phone.
Yeah.
But what I noticed is he was going like this, and like for the first time, he was watching the game.
Yeah.
Like he kept picking his head up. So it was cool that he was actually invested in the game, which
Yeah.
I thought was nice because that never ever happens. But we really didn't do too much this weekend. Um, I'm more or less focusing on like school pictures because apparently our school likes to throw everything within the first 2 months.
Yeah.
Like spend all the money you can real quick.
Yep.
So now his mom and I are planning on what he's gonna wear. I'm probably gonna try to get his hair cut. Just it happens so damn fast, so
Yeah.
quick. So last week was Xander's. So I know Jane's homecoming was this past weekend.
Yeah. It was Thursday. Thursday we went to the homecoming football game. Uh, which, eh, it is what it is.
Yeah,
Um, that game was it was like the Pitt game. Um, and then Friday, city schools are dumb and they do their shit on weekdays. So Friday was their homecoming dance. So um, we took her up. It was just at the school. We took her up, dropped her off, did the photo thing, and then she didn't stay too. Like she stayed. They stay like half the time, and then her friends were like, "We're out." Like it gets boring. So they went to. They pulled an us. They went to IHOP. They went out. Wasn't no Eaton Park, but they went to IHOP.
it was either Eaton Park or Denny's back in the day. More likely Eaton Park.
And just say your niece didn't make it back into that doorway until midnight.
That's my girl.
So
That's how you do it.
yeah, so that was kind of like our weekend. So then Saturday we just hung out at the house. I wasn't feeling too hot on Saturday. I just watched the Pitt game, watched a lot of college football. Like I don't say a ton, but I watched more than usual football this weekend. Like I watched game day, watched I don't even know what game I watched first. And then that led into me watching the Pitt game at 3. And then I watched the late game the Oklahoma Tennessee game, and then Sunday I just put that shit on replay and got up, watched NFL Countdown, watched the CBS pregame show, Steeler game. The Dallas game was on after that,
Yeah,
and then the Chiefs and what Falcons
right.
Sunday night. That was pretty much it. Tried to do some stuff around the house, but I just wasn't feeling too hot, so
I mean,
tried to take it easy and
that happens. Like, um, Saturday before the game, I finished up in here, and then I was just tightening up, putting things back. Sunday, I was going to like um, start putting things back, like hanging stuff up on the walls and whatnot.
yeah,
But we still got a little bit more like trimming to do, and then the ceiling. So the only thing that's, I think, right now the bitch of this is the person that had this place before me. I don't know if her and her mother, because it was her mom's place, and then she took it over. Like, once I painted it, you can tell by the ceiling that they were heavy smokers.
uh,
So the nicotine is saturated like into the ceiling.
hmm
And you kind of saw it when we were doing the hallway, like going out to my room and whatnot. You
yeah,
kind of saw it. So I was like, oh shit. But as we started coming out into the living room, it was like, no, I really see it now.
yeah,
Like it's just bad. So it's so bad that it's like my dad's putting like primer up there now, and like that's helping. You know, you really can't notice it with the primer.
hmm
Now you just got to paint a couple coats of white paint on it and it should be all right.
yeah.
So that's why now, even though we're not done, he's moving into another room, and I'm like, dude, one thing at a time, Pen Dot Paul.
Is that
Like,
is that light net still working in the kitchen?
yes and no.
Oh,
Like, prime example. I walked in there today, turned the light on, light came on. Yesterday, last night, I was getting myself together and was gonna go like, you know, watch Raw in my room or something or like whatever. And I went to go turn the light on, and the fucking light didn't work. So I don't know. Um, my dad's spitballing a couple more ideas. I kind of want him to focus more on that than
yeah,
painting. I can paint any day, you
yeah,
know? So it's like, no, like fix it, because the problem I'm running into now is by the time I get home and situated, it's like
mm,
4:30, 5 o'clock.
yeah,
So I'll go ahead and I'll start either making dinner or something like that, or get me something to eat. And then I notice like I'll have a stockpile of dishes, and I'll be like, oh shit, I got to get my dishes done. So I'll go to do them, and next thing you know, it's fucking nightfall. And I'm like, dude, I don't want to fucking do dishes in the dark. So next thing you know, I got myself out here like a fucking miner with the fucking light on my phone, like my power is out. And
yeah.
I'm like, we need to fix this. We just need to fix it. And what's funny is I asked my dad, I told my dad about it. He's like, wait, the fucking kitchen light don't work? I was like, it's connected all to that line. Like I told you. I was like, from that outlet all the way down. For some reason the refrigerator works. I don't know. I don't know. I just told him, I was like, I don't know what it is, but that works. Like the fridge works and the stove works, but like you can't put on like the dome light to the stove. Weird. Shit like that. But that I more or less want him to fix that problem next.
Yeah,
Because it's bad when you have like your cousin who's an electrician come out here, and even he's fucking stumped. He's like, I just ain't fucking getting it. Like he just ain't getting it.
yeah,
So I don't know. He has an idea of rewiring and whatnot, but I'm like, okay. But in the same sense, we're starting to do these projects the week Xander isn't here.
uh,
because that way the house isn't a mess, and he likes to bubble around and do his thing and whatnot. So I don't want him to have to like have tripping hazards or him get hurt off something. It's just not my thing. I'd rather just focus
Surprised.
my time with him.
I know your dad knows. Your dad's. We've said it before. Like your dad got a guy. You tell me you can't. He hasn't got a guy that can come in there and fucking check that electrical shit
What's
for.
funny, right? So yes, you're right. Paul Senior has a fucking guy, like for everything. And when I don't, I can't stress this enough. My dad literally has a guy for everything,
Mm-hmm.
everything, everything. Even if you want to make some problems go away, Soprano style, he has a fucking guy. And I was like, when would we ever need that? He's like, you never know. I'm like, okay. I don't want to ask no many questions. I don't want to be on record. Like, I don't want no part of it. But he was like, yeah, I was talking to electrician buddy of mine, and he was saying we can. I was like, well, why didn't you just lead with that in the first place? Like,
Yeah.
if we went with that, we'd be fine, like perfectly fine. But so his electrician buddy told him about some kind of ideas. So I don't know. Hopefully soon, because my next plan, like when I have Xander next week, I'm gonna start decorating for Halloween. So
Mm,
I knew I want the house to be tightened up, completely done. That way, Xander and I can do our things and whatnot.
yeah.
Because I know Xander loves some Halloween, and I know he loves Christmas. So
Yeah.
I wanted to make sure that we're able to hang up shit, you know.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm like, Dad, we really need to get this fucking living room done. And for the most part, it is done. Like it is done.
Mhm.
But I asked him today. I was like, "Well, can I start hanging shit back up?" He's like, "No, I got to finish painting the ceiling." And what the fuck? You can't tell me 1 minute we're done. You can hang it, and then be like, "Well, I got to finish the ceiling." All right, that's great, but he doesn't have to. That's the thing. Is I told him I if I have a paint stick to screw in for the roller, I'd be
Yeah.
done. And he's like, "Oh, I got a couple of them." I'm like, "All right." So he brings me out one today actually, and I put it in the fucking roller. Nope, nope. So the rest of this week, I'm literally going to be standing up on a chair and going, so far, so far, so far. Like,
Get you some fucking duct tape and duct tape that goddamn shit to the pole.
I figured, Debbie was the queen of duct tape. I'm sure she has fucking duct tape.
Duct tape. Put it on there, and if it's what is it? Is the stick not big enough for it, or is the
The the roller, the holder for the roller, it like strips out when you try to screw it.
oh? I'd put that shit on there. Get it as tight as you can, like right. You know what I mean? Like get it that crank right before it starts to strip out, and then
And
fucking wrap
fucking,
some duct tape around that some bitch.
bro, I'm telling you, it's gonna fucking come down to it because I ain't got no more time. I really don't. Like, when I say I want a room done, I want a room done, and I'm not trying to be persistent, like like edgy towards my dad, but it's just like, no, let's finish this first before we do the next thing.
Yeah.
Like, because how can I move forward in one room if we're deconstructing another fucking room? Like,
Yeah.
my house isn't all that big, so like, cut me some fucking slack, Pop. Damn. But
Yeah.
but he's just crazy. Like today when I walked in. Now, mind you, a couple hours before that, he told me I I put plastic over your couch to make sure no paint or primer got on the couch. Okay, that's great. And then I told him I mentioned something to him about don't start the dining room. I come home. The couch has half plastic on it, but no paint on anything. So I'll give my dad that. Then I look over and I was like, oh my God, he started doing the fucking dining room. I was like, hey, I told him not to. Like, uh, like just I get I get he's persistent. I get it. And he wants to get it done. And I commend him for that. But my thing is like finish one room.
Yeah.
Like that's all I ask. It's not that I'm ungrateful. It's just like, can we please finish one room? That's all I ask. But God love him. You know, he means well. So, but I don't know. I mean,
Are you are you guys doing the bedrooms too, or are you just leaving them kind of as is for now?
right now at the moment, they're as is. After we're done here, like the length of the house, we're gonna go do the bathroom, finish that up, and then Xander's room is next. Like Xander's room will be the next one.
Yeah.
And I've been kicking around ideas. I had some ideas mentioned to me, and I kind of torn how I want to do his room because I mean it's gonna have the white in there, but I'm thinking I got suggested maybe doing like black light paint for like his handprints,
Yeah.
just something gnarly. And then I did want to do his handprints like on the door, like going into his room. It's his room. I own the house. Fuck it.
Yeah.
He gets old enough and doesn't want them no more. I'll just paint the door.
Yeah.
But but I was told like suggested it like kind of like splattering like on his walls like little black light. I was like that's actually not bad
Yeah.
because Xander has a he has like a light in his room that changes different colors. So if I get him a light that changes like to black light, oh my god, he'll be in awe.
Yeah.
Plus, it'll be bright for him, and he'll probably sleep a little bit better.
Could be.
Could be, but yeah, it's my room's the last one to be done because I'm really not worried about my room.
Yeah.
I mean, it's more or less having the house done
Yeah.
for sure. But again, you get it. Like owning a home, you're never done.
Dude, you've been to my house how many times and I still haven't finished my kitchen that I started 5, 6 years ago. I mean,
Like
all the like it's like all the major stuff's done. Like we, tore out the walls or tore out what cabinet was there, tore out all the counters, tore out all the plaster and the lat board, put up drywall, reframed a couple things, kind of redid the layout of the kitchen, got all the new cabinets in, new counters, dishwasher, which we never had before, just whatever. And then we just got to that point where it was just like, okay, where does it at like the cosmetic stage?
yeah,
And it's just like, as much as I want it to be finished, like, as you know, like, there's always something going on.
yeah,
And I was just talking to Donna about that over the weekend where I was standing in the kitchen and I was like, uh, I just don't feel like we have enough counter space. Like we have some dead space,
yeah,
and I'm just like, feel like we could do something with them. We have extra counters and shit in the basement from
right,
whenever we redid it. So it's like, I think there's one down there that's could fit, might be off by an inch, but I'll make it work. And it's just, and then it's like, I need trim. So when we tore out the plaster and everything, it left a gap. When we put the drywall in, there's like a half inch or so gap between the top of the drywall and the the raised ceiling. So I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna. I already have an idea of like what I want to get, like not crown molding, but just like literally almost like plain ass, just something to finish it off
yeah,
and hide that gap. So, but I mean, we painted. Mike came over. I don't know when that was. Probably been a little while now, but we painted because for the longest time we just had purple walls because the drywall was purple. So
yeah.
We just had purple walls for like almost a year. We just had purple walls, and I finally was like, all right, we gotta paint. So we did paint. Levy came over, we painted, and we did the backsplash behind the sink.
Yeah.
But it's just like there's so much other stuff. Like you said, being a homeowner, and it's like, and the hard part was is it was like we rented this house for so long,
Right.
like from '07 because we moved in here the year Jane was born. So from '07 to '13 we rented. So we couldn't do anything. I mean, our landlord was cool and would let us do stuff, but we couldn't like tear out the kitchen.
Yeah. Right.
So it was just like, all right, whatever. But then we bought it from them, and then it was just like, yeah, now it's like, so it was like we had the weird transition where it was like, if something broke or something happened, hey, this water heater needs fixed, or furnace broke the one went right before winter the one year. You had to come get a new furnace put in, which benefited us because then when we bought the house, we knew there was a new furnace in the house. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah. Right. I mean, it's a
one
give and
less,
take from renting and owning.
but but now it's like like now it's like I don't have somebody to call. It's like, oh, this broke, shit, I gotta fix it. Like,
Yeah. That's what I started picking up real quick
yeah,
from, when I used to be with Ash and we would rent off the Pringles. Like it was always somebody taking care of it. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Or he'd have somebody or come over, whatever, repair it. Um, but now, like owning my own place, like when the heater went down, I was like, "You got to be fucking kidding me!"
yeah,
And then like that was probably the scariest thing out of everything here.
yeah,
Was that because I like the time was precious because um I had Xander the next week and it happened on like after I dropped him off to my
uh,
recollection. I remember her dropping him off with Ashley, coming home, and I think it was like an hour later. I was like, why the hell is it so cold in here?
yeah,
Like, but it's not like cold, cold. It was still from that heat being in here.
yeah,
And then I looked over at the thermostat and it was like, I think it said like 68. And I was like, huh. I usually set my heater at 70 because my trailer will get hot.
yeah,
So I was like, all right, maybe it's just something. You know what I mean?
hmm,
Oh boy, motherfucker, that next morning when I woke up, my God, my God, that shit was fucking burning. My dick
yeah,
was in my fucking throat. Like,
yeah,
legit. I remember I came out and I was like, whoo. And when I said whoo, I saw my breath. And I was like, what the fuck? So I came in and I'm looking at the thermostat. That shit was 40 fucking two. I was like, what the fuck? Like I'm starting to panic, but of course I have to get to work. So
yeah,
what I'm doing, bro, is literally I was shutting my door and getting dressed and then came out and like trying to figure it out. And then I like called my dad and was like, I don't know anything about furnaces. Like, I need to know what the hell is going on. Well, he has a guy.
you got a guy.
He's got a fucking guy. So he was like, I'll have my buddy Rick come out and take a look at it. I'm like, all right. So that was the worst day ever because I literally went in, brushed my teeth, and like, thank God the pipes didn't freeze or anything like that. Because I have heat tape under the trailer. So
Yeah,
that's at least that plus. But when I had the hot water on, you literally saw the smoke come out into the hallway
yeah,
and just follow me out in the hallway. I was like, yeah, at least you keep me warm till I get to the fucking living room.
yeah,
And then when I got in the living room, I was like, God damn. I had to be with, like, again, thank God it wasn't a Xander week.
yeah,
Because more than likely, I would have stayed with either my mom or my dad, or worst case scenario, I'd have asked his mom to stay with her. Like,
yeah,
hey, we got a real bad situation. But the worst part is, so we get this like motor. And my dad's like, I got it. I'll install it. I'm like, all right, dad, cool. And then he installs it upside down. It's fine. You know, he has know nothing about it. So long story short is I think I had to pick up Xander Sunday. I think we were still, I don't know if we were doing Sunday morning pickups, or I think we started around this time we started doing the evening ones. But it was like that Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
My house was 32 degrees. 32. I'm literally sitting on my couch while Rick and his assistant are in my house.
Mm-hmm.
I'm under a blanket and fucking a hoodie and a like under a hoodie and like two long sleeve shirts,
Yeah.
trying to watch television, but I could just see my breath. And I was like, dude, I need this fixed. I need this. My son's coming. My son's coming. My son's coming. And all of a sudden, you just heard the fucking heat go on. I was like, thank you, Jesus.
Yeah.
And then the best part was Rick. He was like, somebody installed the motor upside down. I was like, you could blame my father. I was like, I don't know anything about this stuff. So the best part was this is why I like some of my dad's friends, and that's what I'm kind of doing now for people
Mm-hmm.
is he showed me, so I'll show somebody else. Like,
Yeah.
hey, what you're supposed to do is this, and whatever. Like, just recently, I was I never knew how to really spackle. Like, I knew about it, I just didn't know all about it.
Mm-hmm.
So when we were doing the living room, like we're spackling those little crevices in the wall.
Yeah.
I mean, they're still there, just not as deep.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But um, we were spackling, or AKA sparkling, is what we were doing because that's what Xander
Okay.
was calling it, and now everybody calls it sparkling. What are you doing? I'm just in there sparkling. It's fine. So I learned how to do that from my dad. My dad was telling me like how to do it, what to do, how much to use,
Yeah.
whatever, for like big holes, etc. So unfortunately, like Ashley had a problem with hers. Like she has a hole in hers. And then if you recall, at her old place, there was always that hole in the kitchen. It was always by the refrigerator.
I think so.
Okay. I told her, I was like, one day I could spackle that. Like, just, fuck it. Why not?
Yeah.
So she's like, oh, all right. Well, whenever, kind of, no big deal. And then she was showing me this fucking gaping hole in her room from like her dog, like chewing at it. And I was like, you could do that too. So one day I just came over, spackled that fucking hole, and I didn't have to. I've never had to spackle a big hole yet,
Yeah.
but it just was like it was took about half hour, 45 minutes. But because you got to like let it dry, then keep mushing it up and whatnot.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was like, I was kind of proud of myself because I didn't know how to do this shit.
So that was one thing, like, I mean, like growing up for me, like my stepdad and my mom, like they ran a construction business.
Correct.
So that was like my stepdad's thing. Like, he was always like, I can't teach you anything schooling, you know what I mean? Like he was like, but you're gonna learn, how to take care of your own house when you become a homeowner one day. He was like, I don't want you paying somebody to do something that you could do yourself.
Yep.
So I mean, again, as you put like, so yeah, over the like during our summers and stuff like that, mainly when we were in like high school, he'd take me on jobs and teach me like your dad did with you, like teach you shit. So it was like,
Yeah.
you know, I know shit didn't go well with him and my mom later in life, but like I still appreciate that, like, you know what I mean? Like from him, like because yeah, like anything we need done around the house, there's only one thing that I've ever had to call a professional to do, and that was because really it was more than I can handle, is when our sewer line fucked up in the basement, like
Yeah.
under the concrete in the ground.
Yeah.
Like I had to call you know, the plumbers for that.
Yeah,
But
for sure.
like all the dumb shit around the house, like I mean, like I said, we have plaster walls in our house that are cracking and crumbling, and they got holes in them and shit. Like, I can't put a nail on a wall to hang up a photo without the nail fucking leaving a goddamn fucking softball hole in it. And
Hey,
no,
if
I
you
didn't,
if you need sparkling, bro, I got tons of sparkling.
bro.
Tons of
I
sparkling.
I have two 5 gallon buckets from when
Of
we
some
did the kitchen.
sparkling?
Yeah, dude. We did the like I said, we redid the kitchen and we got all the drywall and everything up. And I looked at her dad and I said, "All right, now we got to mud and do all the seams and everything."
Yep.
And he's like, "Don't worry about it. I got a guy that'll come in and do it." He goes, "Because her dad flat out admitted he was like, I hate dealing with it. I don't want to deal with it." He's like, "If you want to help him at your house, go ahead." He was like, "But so he calls her, Donna's uncle, and he was like, he's gonna come in. He's gonna have a little AM/FM radio. He's gonna just ignore that he's there. Just let him do his thing." And he did. He came in with two 5 gallon buckets, and my kitchen isn't that big. We did not need two 5 gallon buckets.
My man
But
came
like,
fucking prepared, bro.
yeah, it was almost as if like he went and bought everything. Like he bought the seam tape, he bought all the supplies he was gonna need, and then knew like there's gonna be plenty of leftover, so he left. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just gonna leave it. So I still have. That's what I mean. Every once in a while, I'll get an itch, and I'll be like, "Oh, you know what? I'm tired of looking at that crack in the wall," and I'll go grab it and fucking
It's sparkle the sparkle, dude.
throw some tape on it. But here, you know what? I learned this other trick for smaller jobs. Instead of having to pull out all the spackle shit, especially because my walls are still white in my house, obviously behind me. Um, I just bought this like a little fucking thing of caulking, and you just fucking fill it in with white caulking.
Yep.
I'm like, all right, that works.
Yeah,
Like,
right. But I mean, like, um, but that's the thing is like teaching somebody else. Like,
yeah,
I get it with like, Ash has her daughter and all that shit, but she wants to learn. So it was like, so I was like, hey, you want to see how this is done? I'm showing you how this is done. Like I was showing her how I was doing it and whatnot, just so somebody else learns it, and then if she wants to, you know, Im- implement it with somebody else, like it's
yeah.
fine. But
That's
I
why
mean,
I I like doing that kind of shit too. Like, you know what I mean? Like if you were like, hey, like I got this house project. I don't know if I'd help you paint and spackle as much. But if you're like, hey, I gotta, cut a hole in the wall and do this or do that, I'd be like, let's do it. Like that's like Mike will call me, you know what I mean? Like especially, when he has bought, another wall size TV and we gotta hang this some bitch. So like as much as it's like uh a pain in the ass to try and fit a 200-inch TV on a wall, and yes, I said
right?
200-inch TV. Um, it's still like I don't know, like it's still fun for me, like to go like, all right. I tell him I got this because like even I showed him and like he went out and invested in one after he saw me use mine. I went and brought the stud finder out. I'm like, we have to stud this fucking thing to the wall. We can't be just hitting some
Yeah.
drywall. Like that shit will be laying on top of you, dude. Although we gotta
Fuck
find
yeah,
studs.
bro.
So I brought my stud finder out. We did it all the right way. The, we put the lag bolts and everything in it. Like it was just like I don't mind doing that kind of shit. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. I guess that's old people stuff.
No, I mean
Like
like that's what
like
I like it.
it's one thing for me to sit here and watch like HGTV because I feel like HGTV is more of like just like decorating and stuff like that. Bro, and you called me a couple times if you were working on a weekend and you just like
Oh,
called a
I know what
bullshit
you were
while you
fucking doing, bro.
you call and you're like, "What's up?" And I'm like, "Watching some of this old house." Like I will watch. Like I'd rather watch a show where like there's construction going on because then too, like I'll pay attention to what they're doing and like if something were to happen in my house, I'm like, oh yeah, I could. Okay, if that ever happens in my house, now I know. Like, do this, do that.
Yeah,
So it's just
100%.
like I, I don't know. Like that's like even if we have people come out, like even if the cable guy comes, like I don't like I'll sit and watch what they're doing, and I'll tell them like, hey, if I'm in your way, just let me know. And a lot of times they're cool, like. But like I just watch because then I know like I can see what they're doing and it's like, look, I don't have to fucking call you to come back out next time. Like
That's a fucking fact, bro. That's why I was like, that's kind of like back to the original thing. That's why anything that's happened here,
mhm,
anything from when we were installing the windows, I was up my cousin's ass and so up my dad's.
yeah.
I asked, bro, so many questions. Like I just wanted to be as informed, like get as much knowledge as I could. And then when my dad would put in a window and then it started leaking, it's like, okay, don't do what your dad did this way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
then that's all it is. It's like I get it's very trial and error, but at the same time, I just want to have no errors. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Like you want to get it like that's my thing about the project though too, is like I want it done. Like I don't like you said, like I mean I get
same.
it if it's a project that I know is gonna take some time. But if it's just a simple project that I'm like, I could bust this out in a day, it better be fucking done in a day because I do not want to have to do it again. Like keep, I don't want it the next day come because again, like I said earlier, like you never know when shit's gonna happen in our house that I'm probably not gonna get to it the next day that I thought I was. Like
No, I feel you there.
so
Like
it's just like
as soon as he told me the paint was here, bro, done. As soon
yeah,
as he said that 5 gallon fucking bucket was here, I was on it.
yeah,
On. Like I was not stopping until I fucking had it done. I
yeah,
just wouldn't. I wouldn't stop. And then I was like, ah, fuck, you got to get some sleep. And then like prime example is when we took the kids to that homecoming festival.
mm,
Bro, I literally swear to God came back here after doing that with them and whatnot. Came back here and just fucking went to town. Like
yeah,
it wasn't stopping me because I knew I can get it done. Like I knew I can get it done. And then when he came out. He's like, "Holy fuck, you got like the whole room done." I'm like, "Yeah." In the words of him, play don't play. Like I don't
yeah,
play. I don't fucking play no games. If I want to get it done, I get it the fuck done.
yeah,
But like that's my thing now is again, you know, I used to have a hung up television myself.
mm.
I'll be goddamned if I'm putting in these fucking walls.
I would
Uh-uh.
not.
I would not even fucking remotely find a stud. Where? Like,
Yeah,
where? Like, finding one here is a relic. Like, it's so
yeah.
bad. But I
That's
mean,
why I mean, obviously, I have studs in my walls. Like, I could find one if I wanted to, but it's just like I don't want to take that chance because again, we just have plaster walls, and it's just like again the way they're already cracking and like peeling and shit like that. I'm like, it's just easier to keep it on an entertainment center.
well, look at the fucking basement of my old house. It was fucking sandstone. I'm fucking drilling holes in the fucking wall just so I can get a nail in it.
I know that's what me and Mike we were hanging the TV for his mom in the living room, and the other TVs that I helped him hang, like I didn't think nothing of it, and we were doing like interior walls, so everything was yeah, just find a stud and we're good. Well, the wall that we were putting the TV on for his mom, uh, it was a connecting wall to their neighbor, and I still again with it still being connected like to the neighbor, like I assumed it would still be wood, like wood and drywall or whatever.
Yeah.
Nope, it was fucking cinder blocks, bro. Like I was like, Mike. He's like, yeah. So we had to run up Home Depot, get a fucking cement bit,
Yep.
fucking drill the holes, and like you said, do get the masonry stuff in and get the lag bolts in that way. I'm like, damn, like that was
I always recall like finally when I was able to have that basement,
Yeah.
it was like the man cave, and I was like, okay, how the fuck am I gonna hang shit up here?
Yeah.
And I was like, well, all right, I'll try like nailing it in. And it was like just ping, ping. I was like, oh, I gotta like pilot them and
Yeah.
try to get it in there a little bit. And I would have to do like a smaller bit and then
Uh,
get my nail in there to like extend it. But I mean, I made most of that goddamn basement.
yeah.
But now, like, that's also a learning experience, like with here. Now I'm like, well, now if I want to put like a nail or a screw in, I usually get those like pockets to go in first
Yeah.
and then you screw
Yeah.
because that's like the most logical thing here. And like, again, I'd love to hang my television because I love when my TV was hung. But there, that wall between the living room and Xander's room, fuck ass no.
Yeah. I don't know if
This
I
is
would
our
trust
fuck
that.
ass no segment of the fucking podcast. It
You'd
ain't
you'd be,
fucking happening.
you'd be better off getting one of those entertainment stands that have like the bar that makes
That
it look
extends
like
in the
it's
back,
hung,
yeah.
and then just have like the entertainment center underneath.
But I mean, like to have the entertainment stand I have, and it's long enough, like that's fair, that's fine.
Yeah.
Like, but I did see there's these guys working down at Gateway 4. They're remodeling this one like lawyer's office, like this
Mm.
whole firm. And they had this like leveler. It was so space age shit, bro. I loved it. It was like in the middle of the
It was the one that did the whole room.
fuck yeah, bro. That was the most amazing thing I've
Yeah.
ever seen in my fucking life. I
So
was like, I need one of these bitches.
that would be my well, not my next. I have another tool already. I was just telling the girls this. I was like, I got to get this fucking tool. That's again, homeowner, old. Like I get enjoyment out of buying power. like
You'll have
like
that.
I'll go buy something. And I'm like, all right, I got it. I don't know what I'm gonna use it for, but I got it. But no,
That's my dad.
like I so I started off with just a little, just a little toolbox leveler, which I still keep in my toolbox. Got a magnet on it. You know what I mean? It's all good. And then I was like, no, ain't doing it. I had to go buy the fucking
The
like
big long
three
one.
footer, 3 footer. I was like, yep, I need that. And I'm like, what's the next? What's the next up from that? Well, I could get a longer one. Nah, you just gotta get the red laser one.
Dude, that red laser one, I was like in the middle of doing the stop and I'm watching it. I was like, this shit's dope. I could
Yeah,
use this in my fucking house.
yeah, yeah. I don't know what I would use it for because I don't feel like I'm gonna be doing anything that would need lasered the whole room. But I mean,
But I mean, it's good to have it, right?
exactly like when we were redoing the kitchen, we we reframed the window because we shrunk the window down again when we remapped out the kitchen. We shrunk the window,
Yeah.
uh, so we had to reframe it. And her dad was like, "Ah, fuck." He was like, "I left the saws up at the house." I was like, "Okay." As you know, not like they live far.
No.
I was like, "Well, don't worry about it." He was like, "What?" Well, we need to cut. I can't get a regular circular saw in there to cut that. And I'm like, "No, I mean, don't worry about going to the house." I was like, "Hold on." I went down in the basement, came back up, and I was like, "Here." He was like, "I didn't think you'd have one." And I was like, "Rethink that one, buddy." He goes, and I like yours. And I was like, "You're not keeping it." He goes,
You're not keeping
"No."
it.
Well, because he's old school. Everything's plug in.
Yeah.
Not this guy. Fucking give me the cordless. So he was like, okay. I was like, if you need something, let me know. I have like not everything. Like I don't have a workshop, but
Yeah.
like I got enough shit to do home projects.
Right. That's like my dad when he last time he was just out here last Saturday. Actually, no, he came on
Bro, you
Sunday.
know what I had? You could have borrowed. I didn't even think of it. 'Cause I mean, obviously you've been down here since you've been working on the house. Bro, I got fucking scaffolding you could have borrowed to stand on to do your paint and everything.
Well, it's a little too fucking late for that now, eh?
It it it's
But I
like
appreciate the sentiment. I really do.
it's like 2 foot off the ground or so, 2, 3. I get like the legs like can extend, but it's just a scaffolding base. You can walk along it instead of having to like hop ladder and shit. I
Or
I
hop on a
didn't bit
fucking chair.
Yeah, you don't gotta be on a chair. Like we that that I can't take credit for that purchase. Uh Donna's brother-in-law for Christmas one year, like he bought one, like he was doing something at his house and he bought it to do whatever he needed. And he realized how like so much better he could do things that he was like, all of the brother, like the rest of us, all of us guys got one for Christmas from him that year. Like he invested for us. He was like, "You guys are gonna love it. You're gonna love it." I was like,
Right?
"Okay," but yeah, it's just chilling on my basement, like on the basement stairwell. Like I have it hanging. I didn't even think about it, like for you guys, because I'm not using it for anything.
Well, hey, I'll let you know where I'm at around like next week for Bad Blood, and I'll be like, hey, by that way, that thing, let me
Yeah,
get a pull off that.
yeah.
Like,
I mean, it'll fit in your backseat because it's like it almost reminds me of that. You know that ladder that as seen on TV one they've been selling it for years that like folds and does all this different. You can
yep,
prop it on an angle. Like it's kind of like that. So it's like this little compact thing that like unfolds and opens up to again a decent sized piece of like that you can stand on, and especially for your place, it'll definitely help you at your place.
yeah. I mean, especially if these fucking ceilings still don't end up getting done, I might
Yeah,
be there sooner than later. I might be like, I'm like itching like a fucking crackhead outside. Be like, I need to fuck, I need it, I need it, I need it, because I'm
yeah,
gonna come, I'm gonna kill him. But
yeah.
when he was just here on Sunday, he was asking me about the one fucking tree out back. Again, he has 13 projects. Finish one.
Has you got a tree guy?
I think he does have a tree guy.
If your dad got a tree guy, I might need to. You might need.
I was like, he has a tree guy. My brother has a tree guy.
Your brother has a tree guy.
A tree guy.
Oh,
Say a tree guy.
you need
Everybody
that.
has a tree guy.
You need that tree after you do the other tree, because them bones is gonna be hurting.
Dude, the worst part is them bones was hurting after fucking doing all this painting.
I bet. Like, and that's what like I said, like when I was saying earlier, like, oh, I didn't feel good this weekend. It was like my muscle stuff. Like again, like going to the football game on Thursday, which again, I just went to a high school football game. Not like I did anything crazy. We did her homecoming stuff on Friday, like, but like this muscle problem that I'm having just kicked in over the weekend, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I'm sitting here
Yeah.
watching the Steeler. I was sitting here watching the Steeler game, trying to fold a load of laundry, and it was
And
like by the time I was done, you would have thought that I just did like 100 fucking crunches with the rock, like my
you didn't even
arms
get a
hurt.
chance to eat the fucking cheat day meal either.
No, I didn't get any of the cool Under Armour gear. Like I ain't nothing, nothing. Not a pat on the back. You know,
Not
not even,
not an
not even a,
attaboy.
not a. You're welcome. Like I didn't get anything. I didn't get
Nothing.
anything.
Fuck, even a
So
thumb in the ass, whatever. Something. Jesus.
I don't know about that one. That's a big ass stump.
It is a big ass, but it's better than going through that fucking pain.
Yeah, but oh, that was the other thing we did do over the weekend. 'Cause again,
You
it
saw
was
the
kind
rock?
of we did see the Rock. No, speaking of him though, just made me think like we. I don't know if we started watching that Agatha the Marvel show on Disney.
Um, I haven't. I haven't. I want to watch it.
Dude,
Um,
I think
I
you'll like
started
it.
watching The Penguin.
Oh, I didn't get that far yet, so don't. I didn't. That's on my list. Like, so we started Agatha, and then there's something else that I wanted to watch. I can't remember, but Penguin's on my list of things to watch. Probably this week. I'm gonna try and start it. But
Yeah.
no, that Agatha, I thought of you in a way, not because it's Marvel, superhero stuff or comic stuff.
Oh, you were thinking of me? Oh,
Well, because I was thinking like because it's different. It's so different. But it's
I
one of
mean, he
those
is like my wife, so
it's one of those things where because they've done it before, like some of their Marvel shows, I don't want to say they're hit or miss, but like the way they're done is so cinematic. And
mhm.
that's the way I feel about this show. Like I so the first two episodes came out and I'm like, I I want to watch more. Like what I don't want to wait a week. Like
how that's how that's how it always
it,
is.
it's so good and it's just done so well. Like the special effects and the camera, like the quality is so good. It I feel like they could have made this a movie for the theater and it would have done amazing.
Yeah,
But it like Donna and the girls like the again like I mean they watch Marvel stuff with me so they know what's going on, but I think like even like I don't know about Brandy, like I don't know if she does superhero stuff.
I don't really know. Like it's like
But even if she
I seem
didn't,
more interested in Deadpool and Wolverine than she did. So I was like,
like
I don't know. Maybe she would watch it with me, kind of deal.
she,
But
she would. So if you're if like you guys got nothing to do this weekend or whatever, and you're like, let me watch Agatha, watch it with her because I think she'll like it. No, getting to know her as well as we have, like this, and they feel like they could have even waited until I guess it'll carry over into October, but it has such a Halloween feel to it.
I love it.
Like it's just like it's almost like Hocus Pocus, but like on another level because it's all about the I mean no spoilers, like it's all about the witches, it's all about Agatha and her coven, and like the
Yeah,
first two episodes just show you how she builds her coven, and it's like it's so good. Like again, even I think like girls would like it just because it has that like I don't want to say like Twilight vibe, but like it just has that kind of like supernatural feel to it. Again, it's
yeah,
superhero, but it's like again, like I would compare it to like a more adult Hocus Pocus. Not that it's adult, like kids couldn't watch it, but it's just like it has this really cool feel to it. Like maybe almost like the craft. Like if I had to like
yeah.
compare it to something, like for those that know what the craft is, like it definitely has a feel like that. That whole witches world and just what then in the background it's comic book superhero. Like you're like you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like it's so well done so far. And it was again, I watched the first two episodes and I'm like, fuck, I want more.
Right?
Why couldn't we? I wish this was one that they somehow like released the whole thing. But then me and Donna watched. Jane came in because she was out with her friends over the weekend, and she came home in like the middle of it. We watched this stand-up comedian. I might have sent you some of his reels on Instagram. His name's Anthony Rodea.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Dude, he has a stand-up on Prime. Dude, it is. I haven't laughed that hard at a good stand-up comedy in a while.
Oh yeah,
Like, like this dude has potential to be like a Joe Coy or like a Sebastian. Um, the newer, bigger guys that are out touring now. Like he has that. Like he's so funny, and some of those guys you watch on Instagram, like your Matt Rife's, like they're good. Like I call them clip guys. Like they're good for a good 1-2 minute punchline, but then when they do a whole special, they suck.
yeah,
This dude, he was so good. And again, he's one of those guys that compare like past generate like like what was life like for us growing up compared to the kids now, like the different
yeah, yeah,
generations
yeah.
and shit. Like it's so much relatable stuff. And then he talks about being married. It just so happened that when my daughter came home, he was on this whole rant about the sex life. Like my it might have traumatized my child, but he was.
Right?
So we watched that too. That was pretty good. And then I just found out that you I don't know if you still like you were in Practical Jokers guy, like you used to watch that.
I mean, they're all right. I mean, I just when they're on kind of thing.
Yeah. The one dude, Joe Gatto,
Yeah.
um, he just put out his own single special and it's also on Amazon. It
Hmm.
came out like a week ago and I'm like, oh. And he has a podcast with Steve Byrne and they do this this podcast together called Two Cool Moms. Dude, I've been on like I don't know if it was because like again not feeling good, just trying to boost my morale or whatever. But this
Yeah.
weekend, besides football, I was on a stand up comedy, like watching all
I've
kinds of shit.
I've been trying to fucking catch up on all these shows. Like,
I know.
I wanted to do the Penguin, and
Yeah,
then I mean, I heard it's good, so I like watched a little bit of it, and I was like, man, this shit is actually pretty good. I heard about Agatha. Like, I really want to
yeah,
watch Agatha, but again, I'm a waiter. That's what I did with Moon Knight because I knew I would like it.
yeah,
Like, that's what I did with Moon Knight. Everybody's like, it's so good. I'm like, I fucking bet. I bet, but shut the fuck up. Like,
yeah.
I
Like it.
swear.
So like to compare it with Moon Knight, like not story, like I guess story, but whatever. But like how Moonlight was, it was a series, but it had such a movie feel.
Yes.
That's the way I feel about Agatha. Like it, and it picks up like the story picks up, you know, just like Marvel does. Like it's picking up right in the timeline of,
Yeah.
okay, this is what happened after WandaVision. So if
Yep.
you watch WandaVision, you have to, and there's sub. I can't say the goddamn word. I'm going to stutter it. Subtle, subtle. Let's just use that word
That'll.
instead. There's subtle clue like Easter eggs, and I'm like, oh, and then being a comic again, the girls are watching it just to watch it, and again, they know the story for the most part, but like I'm picking up on other stuff, and I'm like pausing it, like, okay, pay attention to that girl because this is gonna happen. Like, they're like, just play it.
Yeah. Right.
That's the only
But
downfall of watching Marvel stuff with me is like I'll start thinking of head or referencing back to comics and like, oh, this is where they might be going, or this is where they could go, or
that's
like,
why when I finally got a chance and I marathoned all of Moon Knight,
yeah,
I wanted to make sure I watched it on my own. I liked Moon Knight,
yeah,
and
that one was
that was
good.
done really, really, really well.
Yeah,
And then
that
especially
was
at the end of that season, where it's like, hey, guess what? There's a third. It's like, duh. Like,
yeah, just like another series that they did really good. I know the low key was good,
yeah, Loki was good. Both seasons were great.
but I think another one that got like a big cinema feel to me was the Falcon Winter Soldier one.
Yeah.
Like that was another one that had a lot of really cool action and that was the other thing that this weekend. Like so obviously like you know our algorithms we do one thing and the next thing you know, but like I got flooded with the trailer dropped for the Thunderbolts
Yeah.
and I was watching that and then I completely forgot. I'm I don't know how long it's going to take. I'm hoping it's going to be soon, but this week only, um, that Christopher Reeves Superman documentary is in theaters,
Yep.
but I know I'm not going to get to go see it in theaters, so that's why I'm hoping it'll be like on Max soon, like to
Or
watch it on
use
there.
or
I mean, I can watch it illegally, but that's one that I don't want to take a chance of getting it. Like I want to. Even if it's just on my TV, I want a crystal clear copy of that. Like you know what I mean?
you don't want a
Like
shit
as you
version of it.
as you know, like Superman was like that's one of my go to superhero guys, and that's what I was telling Jane. Like we were watching the trailer of it yesterday. I was showing Jane, and I was like, this is my Superman. Like just like I always like when when the last Flash came out, and I kept saying Michael Keaton, that's my Batman. Like I was like, this was my Superman to my Batman. Like
Yeah.
that's what we grew up with, in the '80s. So it was like, But then, yeah, it's such a sad story, and even the trailer, like the trailer is 3 minutes long, and I was like, yeah, yeah, it'll make you tear up a little bit.
Yeah, when we went to the movies and that came on, I instantly thought about you. I was like, I told Brandy, I was like, I think Eric wants to see this. Like,
Yeah,
this is
like,
a movie he
and
wants to
then
see.
and then I don't know how much like what trailer they showed you in the theaters or what you've seen of it like online or anything, but like they actually even it made it even harder because again, like I was such a huge fan of Robin Williams, and they dive into like I think a good portion of the documentary is his relationship with Robin Williams after the accident.
Yeah,
And it
there
kind
was
of like,
there was a small clip in the theater.
yeah, and I'm like, oh, like that's gonna make it even harder now that he's passed away. Like
Yeah,
I'm like that's gonna be some rough shit.
yeah, for sure, dude.
But
Like, I also found out something cool about Robin Williams. I mean, I knew this.
yeah,
Like, I knew he was a big avid Zelda person.
yeah,
Like I am, obviously, if your daughter's named Zelda. I
hmm,
mean, come on. But like, just knowing that he was such a big Zelda fan, like I am, and
yeah,
the fact that I don't know if it was before he passed or after he did, but they implemented him and his daughter in one of the games.
hmm,
Like he's just one of an NPC, and I was like, that's fucking dope. That's nice to pay homage to Robin Williams and his daughter. But
yeah. He was such an intricate guy. Like I think there's a lot of stuff that people don't know about him and just what he was like off screen. Like it's the same thing with like I I don't want to compare, but like this the same thing with like as you know, like I'm a huge Jim Carrey fan, and it's like his life off of screen. Like yes, who he is who he is. Like those two guys, like they were always funny. They were always cutting jokes. They were always being the silly, person that you saw on screen.
yep,
But it was like, but they had this other side to them, and it was
yep,
like you said, like with Robin Williams, like I feel like he was a lot more intelligent and a lot more. I don't want to say a brainiac, but like than what people gave him credit for because they just knew him as the dumb, silly guy. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Who love
and
cocaine?
yeah, like
Yeah,
again, like it's just and the same thing with Jim Carrey. Like nobody realized like off the screen that he had this whole world of art that he did, and yeah, it was crazy, misunderstood art, but he had this whole other side of him, that no one realized until some documentaries and things came out. But it's just
right.
like it's
And they don't
crazy.
understand that they had so much more range than just comedy stuff too.
Yeah, exactly. Like a
Like
lot of people don't like when well, I mean, we can stay with those two guys, for instance. Like when they went and did like either suspense or dramatic roles.
when
Like,
Robin Williams did 1 hour photo,
yeah,
that movie is fucking insanely good.
yeah, like that is such a crazy psychopath
It's
movie.
such a psychopath movie, but it's fucking fantastic. Just like the number 23 is fucking amazing.
I know, like
Like
so many people hated it because that's all they want is comedy from those guys, and when they change their style,
who they are,
no,
yeah.
a lot of people don't want to accept it. They're just like, oh, that's not them. That's not them. No, that's still them. They can just be more than a funny guy.
Right. They have the fucking range. Like when Ryan Reynolds did fucking the Amityville horror remake.
Yeah.
Nobody wanted that to happen either. But
No.
fuck, did he
What
pull off that real good?
what's his name? I you said Ryan Reynolds with the horror. John Krasinski, like everybody knows him from The Office, and again, kind of like a comedy sitcom guy.
Yep.
But like, not only is he starring in these horror movies, but he's writing them and producing.
Yep. The quiet ones and all that. Fuck yeah, dude.
I think I think nowadays people are a little bit more generous on like, oh yeah, they can be more than just this person. But like back in the day, like when we were growing up, like it was like an actor got stuck in a genre and that's all they were known for. That's all they did. And
That's
if
because
they
the
did
audience
something
was so
else,
tunnel visioned.
yeah, and if they did anything else, it was hard to be accepted.
Right. But then you go and watch 1 hour photo and you're like, fucking Christ.
Yeah,
Like,
that movie was.
That movie's
Hmm.
so fucking fucked up, but good. It's
That makes me
so
want to watch
fucking.
it again. I want to watch that
Yeah,
now.
swear to God,
Like
bro.
we were just talking about like Halloween and that coming around. Not that it's a Halloween movie, but just
Like
the
suspenseful thriller kind of shit.
yeah, the
Yeah.
horror. Yeah, that.
Well, like that gets me back to like shit coming out. Is like so. It's like okay, I like the Tulsa King. Me and my dad do.
Oh
So the
yeah.
new season of that's out. So he's asking me if I watched it yet, and I'm like no. And then the Penguin's out, and I was
Hey,
like I really want to watch that.
did they just finish season one of Tulsa King and this is season two or is this season three?
This is season 2
Okay, because I
because
that that's
the
one that I
writer
kept
strike.
that's one that I kept saying like I want to watch it. I want to because I've heard great things about it. And again, like, well, I don't know. I don't think Stallone does whatever the hell he wants. But like they were saying like he was meant for this role, this character. Like
Bro, yes.
they said it's one of his better acting jobs. Like and I'm like, okay, like I like Stallone. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah, some stuff he does is a little but for the most part, I don't have a problem with them. And it's like I kept hearing such good things about it. But to be honest, until you just said that, I don't think I've talked to anybody that actually said they watched it. Like, I don't think I've had any friends or family that are like, "Oh yeah, we watched Tulsa King."
Well,
But I've
like
just heard like
it's
internet and stuff like that.
it started with my dad. My dad was like, "Hey, do you have Paramount? I really want to watch the Tulsa King." I was like, "You really want to watch that?" And
Yeah,
he's like, "Come on, it's Stallone as a mobster. He goes to Tulsa, Oklahoma. It couldn't get any fucking better." And I was like, "Well, you kind of do have a point." So I
yeah,
was like, "All right." So one night I just gave it a shot, and next thing you know, I'm 5 episodes in, and I was like, "This is really fucking good. Like, this is
yeah,
really good." And then I got done and I was like, well, fuck. Then I'm Googling when the next season's coming out. It was one of those. And then
yeah,
when I told my dad it dropped, he was like, are you fucking serious? I was like, no, it really did. So I got that. I have fucking Penguin. I have Agatha. Uh, they're doing the new season of American Horror Stories, not Story.
yeah. I saw
And
that.
that's coming. The McMahon documentary is going to drop literally this week. So that's what I'll be glued to this week because I
Yeah,
have to see how this all goes down. Um, there's so much shit right now, but I figure this is around that time. It starts getting a little chilly. Some shit starts coming out. Like, all right, like I wasn't ready for all this so fucking quick, but okay, I'm ready.
that's like you said. Like and on top of it, there's been like movie theater movies. Like you went and saw Beetlejuice. I still want to see that. There's a couple other things that recently came out. Oh, that new I've heard nothing but good stuff about that new Transformers. Yeah, it's a cartoon, but it's still Transformers, so I want to see that. Plus, I got piqued a little bit more interest because I didn't. It was I think a commercial or a Instagram ad or something I saw. The producers was it the producer or director? One of the two. I feel like they're all the same. That did that Transformers one is
Yeah,
the same people that did fucking Toy Story. So
like
I'm like, so the animation and stuff's gotta be
yeah.
like it's not complete CGI like Toy Story and that is. Like it's not a Pixar movie, but the animation itself still's gotta be
Well,
good.
I have to like I have a confession is I actually cheated because I couldn't wait no longer for
Yeah.
Beetlejuice. So I
Uh,
watched it illegally first.
well, I mean that's how if I watched it,
Because
I probably would
I
do the
was
same
supposed to
thing.
go with like so many people to watch this movie. And then, I end up like being out there. But like eventually I was like, I wonder if I could find this on my cinema app. And I was like, but I don't want to watch it, but I fucking want to watch this movie. And then
Yeah,
I saw like kind of like you with the Christopher Reeves documentary. I saw a shitty version of it and I was like, that's enough for me to take in for now. You know what I
yeah,
mean? And then I was like, once I get to the theater, it's fucking on. But like
yeah,
just to see it, because I didn't want no spoilers. And then of course you go on the internet, you get every fucking thing in the world. And I was like,
yeah.
all right, well, this makes sense and whatnot. Have you watched it yet?
No, we that's again. I have such a mental list of shit to watch. Like I said, I there's Beetlejuice, the Transformers. There was another movie recently in theaters that I know. I think we wanted to
I
watch.
will put this out there right now. Anybody that knows me, if they, I will fucking see that movie again in the fucking theater. I will see it
Yeah.
again and again and again and again in the theater. Like it, I liked it. I really, really enjoyed it.
Well, then but like you said, as far as like TV shows though, too, like you said, I started Agatha. I there's something else I can't remember. We started Agatha. Oh, I don't know if you the Amazon, the Lord of the Power of the Rings.
Me and Brandy were just talking about it. I want to start watching it.
Then the second season just or second, third, the new season, whatever number it is, just came out in the past like couple days. So I'm
Yeah,
like, because I was watching. Anytime I watch a Thursday night game on Amazon, they're like, that's a commercial they run, but it always would just say coming soon, and I'm like, well, when the fuck is soon?
yeah,
And finally, I think it was just this last Thursday night game, the commercial came on and I was like, coming soon. And it was like out now. And I was like, thank God. Like,
yeah,
so it's different. Like, as far as the story like goes, I mean, again, still again for a show, the Lord of the Rings cinema is there. And it
yeah,
is cool, like, because they left you hanging at the end of the last one with again, it's kind of like a Marvel thing where it was kind of like if you watched or read or know anything of the Lord of the Rings, you could kind of pick up on because it's a prequel, so it's like you're like, oh, well, that guy is going to turn out to be this one in the movies, or
yeah,
from the books, and you're like, oh, okay, I get it. So it's like they left like a character cliffhanger at the end, and I'm like, all right, I have a pretty good feeling I know who that is, but I need that confirmation, and I don't want to wait. Like,
yeah. Right.
and then there's a few returning characters. Like one of my favorites uh from the movies was like the dwarf crew, and they dive into there's like a whole probably episode or two where they just dive into their whole world, which they don't. And that's the other
Yeah,
thing about this show is you get more detail of each of the realms. So like the elves, the dwarves, uh the hobbits, like there's so much more like intricate storytelling of not just one specific character, but like their area,
yeah,
like their whole thing in one. And I think like the other thing too we're gonna get in this series, maybe in this season, is like because I think they teased it a little more, is the tree nymphs, like how they became a part of the world. Like
right.
so like Lord of the Rings stuff for me is kind of like, and I know you're a fan of like the Game of Thrones, like I could sit and watch Lord of the Rings stuff forever. Like you know me, like I tried the Game of Thrones. I have no fucking idea. I haven't watched any of this. Whatever just ended, the second part of House, right?
The dragon.
House of the Dragon.
Yes, but here's the thing: you can watch House of the Dragon and never watch an episode of Game of Thrones.
I know that. Mike told me that because Mike's a big fan. So Mike gave me the info because I asked him that because we were talking one night and he's like, "Oh, new episode of this is when it was just Game of Thrones." He goes, "Oh, new episode of Game of Thrones is on," and I'm like, "I never really got into it." And he was like, he was like, "I think you would like it." He was like, whatever, and I was like, I don't know. And I just kept thinking about it. And at this point, I think two seasons were out of Game of Thrones, and I'm like, I feel like I have so much to get caught up on. But I kept hearing about this fucking fight, this battle that was happening at the end of the it was like the fucking people came back from the dead or whatever. The
The
winter,
White Walkers, yeah.
the White Walkers. There you go.
The White Walkers and the Night King.
And yes. So I'm like, oh, I gotta watch this fucking fight then. Like, I just want to see the fight. I
That
don't know what's
fucking
going
fight was
on.
incredible.
Here's the fucking thing, Paul. I
Ah, tell me, Eric.
I misjudged when this fight, which episode this fight was. I ended up watching the last four episodes of that season because I kept thinking that episode was the fight. And they kept fucking like, oh, this is going to be the fight. And I'm like, okay, I'll watch next week then. Nope, more story, more of this. So by the time it got to the fucking battle, I was like, all right, well, I already know at least who the characters are now. I might have missed a whole bunch of shit before. So then when House came out, I asked Mike that. I said, all right, I'm going to give this a try. I know it's a prequel. So will I be lost? And he said, no, you will not. He was like, watch it. You're good. He goes, then if you want to, you could pick up with game
GOT, yeah.
and go from there into what you already know, from the end of Game of Thrones. And I was like, okay. So when that first season of House of Dragons came out, I watched it. I didn't like it. Like I was not.
Well, here's the
It
thing.
got fucking weird. Like like I like that whole like medieval world. Again, the dragons, this that. Like again, Lord of the Rings. Like I like that kind of stuff. But then when they started getting into the incest shit, which I mean, I guess if I watched Game of Thrones, I would have known was a part of this damn story. But I was like, what is going on? Like,
Well, I mean, like that's the only thing I take from it is like that's how it was back in the day.
yeah, I mean, I get
Yeah,
it, but
because like they have to keep the bloodline pure and all that or whatever.
it got
But
weird. So
yeah,
we
but
never.
like when
I don't
you it's
actually.
like the
Did you,
uncles like fucking around with the niece, and I was like,
yeah, the
hey,
blonde dude.
yeah, Matt Smith. I was like, he's fucking around with Rhaenyra, and I was like, ah, all right, okay, wait, hold on. But then I'm like, eh. But then over here, I'm like, eh. Like, like understand from like those times. But
I get
now
it
it's
too,
like,
but it's just like
now I'm like,
it got weird. Like I just
well, don't watch the second fucking season. I'm not saying that shit happens or anything like that. But the only thing, the way I could summarize it up completely is what we started the second season with. We got nowhere at the end of the fucking season. You're right back at the fucking beginning. Like nothing happened.
that
Like
was
they
my
were
other
gonna
thing
go
that
to
I think that
war, and then we're going to war at the end. I'm like, no shit.
I think that's the other thing that lost me too is it was like that first season of House of the Dragon, like yeah, it was more about like the tangled love stories and the whatever, the castle. I don't know. But it was like, okay, who's sleeping with who, and then this chick's jealous, and that one's pregnant, and this one's gonna be a like it was so fucking,
And
and
this one's taking over the throne, but now now that her dad's married to this
I'm like, can we
blonde.
just get this some dragons eating people and people dying? Like that's what I'm here for. Like, I want to see somebody lose their head.
I mean, you get a little bit of that in season two,
I know, but
but
I don't feel like it
I
was
just
enough.
wanted more.
There wasn't enough.
It wasn't enough. But that's the thing with like Game of Thrones. It's kind of the same deal. I think if she'll probably correct me because my memories were shit. I think it was one time. It was just we did the same thing with Stranger Things. Um, Ash and I were just bored, and we were gonna start watching GOT because we've heard so many things about Game of Thrones, Game of Thrones, Game of Thrones, Game of Thrones. And I think it was the shout out to Tribal Chief. He was the one that was like, "You need to start watching Thrones," and I was like, "All right, well, maybe we'll watch it." Dude, next thing you know, I blinked, and I think we watched it a whole weekend, and we're into like season three, and then we just started picking up after that, and we did the same thing with Stranger Things. Like, it was this one day we were just sitting at the house, and I was like, "We should start watching the show." Bang! And next thing you know, I was hooked into Stranger Things. I still am now. If the thing ever fucking drops, Xander might be
They
in fucking
they
28,
they're
29.
they finished because they just put a thing out on Twitter. Um, I don't know if you saw it, like on Instagram or anything. I don't know if I saw it there, but it was on Twitter. Um, that the set that they built, Hawkins High School,
Yeah,
they're getting ready to demolish it because filming's done. They're tearing it. They're tearing the set down. The building
really?
that that they used to they turned it into the school.
Yeah.
They're tearing it down. It was like sad day on set or something like that. It was like
Huh.
time is. time has come to tear down Hawkins or something of that kind of quote. I
Yeah,
was
but the
like,
thing that kills me is I'm gonna have to fucking go back and literally rewatch it before I start watching this new season.
I mean, I always
I'll
will
watch the
do like,
last season
yeah,
before I
no,
do
I don't
that.
even do a whole season. I'll just watch like episode 2 recap
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
just to, because it has been a minute
It really
um
has, bro.
on that one. And then the thing is with that one, it's like it's the last, so it's like fuck. Like, I mean, I think they are getting to a point, not so much even just with like the kids getting older, so it's getting a little weird to keep them going in the show.
Right,
But
for
it's
sure.
like I think that they've carried the story on to a point to where it's like, okay, we have to like you're at a point where you can end it on a good note and not drag it out, and then people are like, well, this is getting dumb, you know.
Right. And I
I
think that's
hate
what they're
when
gonna
shows
do.
do that. They don't know when
Like
to call it quits.
they're gonna end up they have to end on them trying to beat Vecna, and
Yeah.
then that'll probably be the end of it.
Yeah.
That's what I'm proposing is probably gonna happen.
Well, yeah, because the cliffhanger at the end of the last season was
The upside
the
down was coming up.
the upside down. Yeah. So it's like, I mean, even though they acknowledge the upside down in every episode, like
Yeah.
I feel like the last season like wasn't based in the upside down as much as previous seasons were. So I
Yeah.
feel like we're gonna get that one. This is the last big hoorah of let's get rid of the upside down.
Yeah, for sure. And then of course something's gonna happen where either Eleven like dies or stops Vecna some I don't know. I really don't know. But
I
I
don't
mean,
either.
I feel you on that, like if they drag it out too long, because I was just watching that documentary about the Sopranos on Max,
Oh yeah, yeah,
and that's kind of how it was. Like the guy was like, "Well, how are we going to end it? Like we're going to eventually have to wrap this up," and it was like the fucking cocksucker still won't tell you how it ended.
yeah.
Like, but everybody has their theories and whatnot. And he's like, "That's kind of what I intended." Like when it goes
Mhm.
black, like, hey, did Tony get whacked? Hey, what happened? Like, did the family get killed? Like, whatever. And I was
He
like,
didn't want to. He didn't want a clear cut ending. He wanted to leave speculation.
no, exactly. And he really did. Even what's fucked up is at the end of the documentary, he's like, well, what really happened at the end of it, and it goes black again. I was like, this motherfucker. I
That's
was
so
like,
good.
he really did it again. I was like, oh, okay. I see you. I see you. All right. I mean, it was
That's
great
another
looking at.
genre. That's another genre of like TV or movies that I could watch forever. Is like the mobster, kind of like Italian gangster movies. Like this
All
was
day,
like
bro.
it was a couple weekends ago. Donna, I think, was in the hospital. It was when she had her seizure. Jane was at work, and Mike called me. He was like, "Hey, what's going on?" I'm like, "Not." It was like I don't know why. I think it was. I don't know why. It was during the day, but I there was no football on. I was like, nothing, just chilling, watching. I was flipping through the channels trying to find something to watch. I was like, and I came across fucking Bronx Tale.
That's a good one, bro.
I was like, I haven't seen that in a minute. So I started and I caught it like it was only 10 minutes in. So I was like, I even if it was further, I still would have watched it. But I was like,
Yeah.
I'm still at the beginning. I can watch the whole thing. So I watched all of it, but it was on like AMC. So during one of the I was talking to him and watching the movie, me and him were bullshitting, and I'm like, oh my god. He's like, what? And I'm like, this is gonna be the best day ever. He's like, what? I was, there was just a commercial. So I went to my TV guide to see what was going on. Dude, AMC was running like they called it like a mobster day or some shit like that. It was Bronx Tale. What was after Bronx Tale? Maybe Goodfellas, and then um, not Casino. No, not Casino. It was another. It was four like good movies in a row, and then it got a little weird. It had like uh, what was the one with Johnny Depp,
Donnie Brasco.
Donnie Brasco, and I'm
That
like,
one's okay.
yeah, I was like, all right, now you're grasping for some straws here. Oh, Scarface was in that main. I'm like,
You fucking
uh,
right, it is,
I'm
bro.
like, all right, yeah, because that's what it was. It was Bronx Tale, and then Scarface, and then Goodfellas, and then Donnie Brasco, and then Blow, I think. And
That's
I'm
a
like,
fucking good one too, bro.
are we going for a theme here? If you stop and think about the basis
Yeah,
of some,
right. It's like, well, are we really? Oh, oh, all right, all right.
once we hit
All,
Scarface, we took a turn. We took a
yeah.
turn with Scarface.
The thing is, though, bro, you could have ended it with fucking Casino. Like,
I don't think Casino was in there. I it was after Goodfellas. It kind of, again, not that they were bad movies, but they were just like they kind of lost my interest a little bit.
well, especially too. Anytime Scarface is on television, I
You
don't
know
watch
what?
it.
Scarface, it wasn't as bad as like some of the other channels that run it, because that's what Mike had said to me too. He goes, because that he asked me, he goes, "What channel are you watching it on?" Though when I was watching Bronx Tale, he goes, "What channel are you watching it on?" Though they're probably gonna cut, TV edit, and
Yeah,
I was like, "Yeah, I know, but it's still a good movie." And I was like, "Oh, it's on AMC." I was like, "We'll see what they do." They
yeah.
left. AMC was leaving it fly.
Well, AMC is still the only one I know, to my discretion, that leaves the chainsaw scene in from Scarface.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and they were in Bronx Tale, like, um, I mean, I knew at that point, I knew they were probably going to leave it just because I'd watched pretty much the whole movie at that point. But at the
yeah,
end, when Sonny gets popped in the bar
yeah.
and the point blank headshot,
Yep.
left it, didn't shy away from it at all.
That's because these
And
motherfuckers ain't watching. These motherfuckers don't watch cable.
no, and then they left in like towards the beginning, um, when the two dudes are fighting over the parking spot, and
Yeah.
it turns out to be Pesci
Yep.
at the end. But that part where they shot that dude and he got hit with the bat and everything, they left
Yep.
off the biker fight in the bar, left that
Yeah.
in there. And the only thing that they muted or tried to change is whenever the Italians were calling the other kids the N word.
That makes sense.
I was like, okay, yeah, like that one I get. But
Yeah.
as far as like the other violence and shit though, they was they left it, and I was like, okay, okay.
It still cracks me up to this day how twapped out fucking Henry Hill was, being all paranoid and Goodfellas, like the helicopter was chasing him the whole day.
Oh, I know.
Meanwhile, to his discretion, the helicopter was chasing him all day.
I know. And then like and then what for Ray Liotta, like one of the, so like he's so known for that movie, and then one of the last things he does before he dies is a fucking cocaine
Cocaine Bear
charge.
movie?
Bear, yeah. I'm like, dude, like,
What a way
what
to
are the
go out.
fuck, what are the odds? But like, yeah, Goodfellas is such a good, like, there's so many good people in that. I mean, obviously, again, Joe Pesci and De
Robert
Niro,
De
like,
Niro, Leota.
yeah, Leota, and then just like, I don't know,
And then, like,
it,
his wife, Karen, is the therapist in The Sopranos.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
of course, Paulie
yeah,
is done by Paul Sorvino. Paulie from The Sopranos is actually in Goodfellas as well.
yeah.
Like, you
There,
you
there's
start
there's a
there's
bunch of those actors that like we were talking about earlier. They get caught in a genre, and that's all they play. Like,
right.
there was that group of dudes that they were in every Italian mobster story of any kind,
Fuck
whether it
yeah,
was
dude.
like they
Like,
were just,
prime example is Frankie from fucking Casino.
yeah,
Dude with the white hair that ends up beating Joe Pesci with a bat.
yeah,
He's in the fucking Sopranos. He's in fucking Goodfellas. Like, dude, bang, 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 bang. He's like,
yeah,
he's just known for those roles. So
Yeah.
I mean, bro, let's just put it out. Let's call it how it is. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Like
No.
seriously, and they do great work.
Yeah,
Great.
like I mean, yeah, the movies were all like again, like there's not one of those movies where I'd be like, oh, that movie was not good. Like
Yeah,
again, like it, just and I get to like Scarface wasn't so much like Italian mob, but like
more
it's
Cuban, but
still
yeah,
yeah, it was still Cuban, but just that kind of a world theme. Like I mean, I guess you could. I mean, the king of it all was The Godfather. Like,
yeah, for sure.
and there's a
Um,
lot of those guys that were younger then
yes.
that now were like you said were in some of this other shit, and it's like I don't know.
Well, then if you what's the one I have? Have you ever seen Black Mass
No.
with Johnny Depp? He plays Whitey Bulger, part of the Irish mob,
Oh, okay. I
like in Boston,
yeah.
bro. Benedict Cumberbatch is his fucking brother, bro. It's so good. Like
There's I like some of that. Like, it doesn't have to just be Italian. Like the Irish mob stuff is good.
I like the Irish mob
Um,
stuff too.
yeah, that stuff's good. Or like I think you referenced it before. I think it was you. Did you watch Peaky Blinders?
Love Peaky fucking Blinders.
I I got into it late. Like I only got halfway through the first season, and then like I'll just say life happened, and I fell off. And then it was like I feel like I'm so far behind now that like it would take me forever to get caught up.
Not really.
Do they even still make like do they still do new?
No, it's done. Um,
Oh, so I
done.
could.
You can, but they're planning on. They're talking to Killian Murphy about doing a movie.
Oh, okay.
So
So
that's
I
been
definitely got
kicked
to
around.
watch it then.
But nobody's as bad as Thomas fucking Shelby.
Like
Dude,
I
Tommy
just
Shelby is a fucking beast. That's my dude.
like that series like it caught my attention because I was like again it has like that mobster feel and but this one's what England or whatever. It's
Yeah, they're like gypsies and whatnot. It, it's
yeah.
it's crazy, but dude, it's fucking amazingly good. It's well
Yeah,
put.
like that's definitely now that if it's done, then I know like because again, like I hate trying to start something knowing that there's another season coming out, and I'm like I just feel like I'm never gonna get caught up the current
Yeah,
time. But now, but if there's rumor and a chance they could do a movie, I definitely have to get caught up that way. If they do it, I'm like, all right, I know what's like.
that's why for the past, I think it was like a couple bar crawls, I kept putting up the fucking no fighting scene.
Yeah,
And he'd be like, no fucking fighting. Dude, that episode's great. Like, it's so good. And then it gets so sad at the end. Like, it's really good episode. But,
yeah,
dude, yeah, definitely. By order of the Peaky Blinders, you should watch it. It's really
yeah.
fun.
I'll have to get again add it to the list of the shit that I got.
I know.
And then the thing is too is it's like now the fall TV season's coming out. So
Yep.
like we have like our normal sitcom shows that we watch um like Ghost starts well that's not
Yeah.
till October. A lot of the stuff don't start till October, but like go we watch Ghost, that'll be out.
I love Mrs.
Um
Ghost.
we're gonna watch the the spinoff of Sheldon,
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
George and Mandy's wedding or
Yep.
whatever, or first marriage. I'm like that should be good. I want to watch that. Um, there's something. Oh, the new Night Court got renewed, so that's coming back out this fall. It's
Yep.
gonna be. I think it's gonna be on Thursday nights.
On the
Um,
cock.
no, Tuesday. It'll be on Tuesday nights. No, on NBC, but it'll be then on the Peacock.
It's always the cock.
And then there was something else that's coming out on NBC. Oh, I think Donna wants to watch the new Reba McEntire show.
Oh, okay. Did you see the
Um,
previews for the new Matlock?
That's weird
I'm interested. I'm intrigued.
because she was like, I'm not Matlock, but like the show, like I
Not
want
like
to
the show, and I was like,
I want to read it and like I want to read a synopsis and get a feel for what it because it's like I don't like the way they did. Like I was like, okay, it's just a woman Matlock. But then when she made that comment, it threw me for a loop on what the basis of the show. Like, is she
yeah,
just by chance somebody that has the Matlock last name and she wants to be a lawyer? I don't know.
right,
Like it's. I mean, I'll look into it. We'll see.
right. But I was like, I wanted to go over it like at least an hour 30, and we went from this old house to these old shows, bro. That's what I'm talking about.
That time of year,
It is
snuggle
that
in,
time of
watching
year.
shows.
But that's all the time we're gonna take for today. Hope y'all enjoyed this episode. Um, feel free to like and subscribe to our stuff on YouTube and different platforms. Because people are telling me they're watching the show, but they're not liking they're not liking it. They're not subscribing to it. So please, that's all we ask. Because if it'll keep us going, and more people that watch it, the more following we get. All right. So as always, I'm the Big Show. That's Big E, and we will catch y'all next week. Later.
Later.